Well, hello everyone, my name is Zwigo and welcome back to another video. Today we'll be seeing if we can beat Pokemon Platinum without encountering any wild Pokemon. And of course this would be possible, but I'm going to implement a few rules that will make it a lot harder on me. For example, I won't be able to use the Daycare or the Versus Seeker, so the only way to train up my Pokemon are via the trainers that are available to me. So I can only fight every trainer once. This means that we might get soft locked because we can't level up anymore because there aren't any trainers available to us anymore. So the real challenge here is actually you can't level up as much as you want to. You also can't choose your team because you have to work with the gift Pokemon that you get, since those are the only Pokemon that are available to you without encountering anything. At first I didn't think this would be possible, since you're pretty damn underleveled once you reach the Pokemon League. For added rules, I'm not going to be using HM Pokemon, and I can't use any items in battle either. May I also remind you to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell if you haven't done that already. And with that out of the way, let's get right into the video. So of course we start off the run by naming ourselves Zwigo like always. Then we name my rival, and his name has to be something very generic. The most generic name ever. Steve. Perfect. We then go to Route 1 to meet up with Steve, and he tells us that you just have to run into the grass and hopefully not encounter any Pokemon, and that's exactly what we're gonna do in this entire challenge. Thank you so much for the tip, but you don't have to hope, you can't encounter anything. That's the twist. As he's about to jump in, Professor Rowan comes and he tells us, do not go in grass, bad Pokemon live there, you need to pick starter Pokemon first. So that's exactly what I do. I go with Turtwig because he's going to have the hardest time throughout this run. Yes, I give myself the worst starter for Sinnoh, because I'm just like that. Great. Then we do our first rival fight, which we win rather easily because he doesn't even attack me, just uses Leer the whole time. And we got 69 XP. Nice. Then it was finally time for the first obstacle of this run, the first patch of grass. My first attempt didn't end well. I encountered a Bidoof. The next two attempts weren't better. We encountered Starlies, but after my fourth one, I finally got out of the first patch of grass. But eventually I got through. And then the second batch of grass came, and I got through that on my first try. I arrive in the next town where I can name my starter, and I name him Crush. If anybody can get the reference, leave it down in the comments below. And we travel back to our mom, which was no problem because you can just jump over the ledges and not encounter anything. We get the parcel and we have to go back to the first two patches of grass, which this time wasn't that big of a problem. Then I went to the Pokemart to see if I had some repels available to me, but you can only get repels after you get yourself the first gym badge. So then I ran through some more grass without encountering any Pokemon, which was very lucky. And I had to fight my first trainer, where I actually lost from a few times because I couldn't level up my Turtwig over level 6. Eventually I was able to defeat the first Starly and move on to the next town. So then I went to the trainer school to talk to Steve and beat up 2 kids to get myself some extra experience. And then it was time for the first rival fight. And since Crush is only level 9, this wasn't really easy. And the reason that this fight is hard is because the Starly always loves to set up growls, and no matter how hard I try, he always sets up at least 3 or 4. So by the time I defeat Starly, I still have to defeat Chimchar with a very low attack stat, which is very hard to do. Chimchar tends to use Leer a lot, but eventually when he uses Scratch, he does a lot of damage because of the defense drops. But then I realized that there were still 3 trainers that I could take down up on the route above, which I did, and my Turtwig reached level 11, and then I tried the rival fight again. This time I was able to take down the Starly very quickly, which was good, and then the Chimchar came out, so I tried to set up a few withdraws, but it didn't really work because he kept on leering me, so it didn't have any sort of impact. Because my attack was so low, I just opted to go for Absorb instead, and eventually I took him down. Then I ran through the first cave without encountering any Pokemon, which was on my first try, very proud of this one. And then I went to the Orberg mine to talk to Roark, which took me a lot of tries because I kept on encountering Geodudes and Onyxes. But eventually I got to him, I saved, and I was able to run out of the cave without encountering anything. And it was time for the first gym battle against Roark, which was very easy because grass destroys rock types. Turtwig killed the Geodude and the Onix with 1 Absorb each, and was able to take down the Cranidos with just 2 Razor Leaves. I also learned the move Curse, which is very good for setting up on certain kind of battles. Then I was trying to make my way back to Jubilife City as I encountered a Bidoof and had to reset back. But after this I realized that I could buy repels, so I bought them, and from this point forward, not encountering any Pokemon is going to be very easy. Turtwig also evolved into Grotle, which is a big stat upgrade. And then it was time for the Team Galactic Commander Mars. But our first Pokemon is kind of annoying to set up on because this Zubat has Toxic, and if it hits me with it, I'm basically done. I have to set up at least 2 or 3 curses so that I can 3-shot the Zubat and then also 1-shot or 2-shot the Purugly, but if the Zubat gets off a Toxic, I'm dead by the time Purugly comes because Purugly always goes for Fake Out on the first turn, which makes me flinch and take extra poison damage. And I've also defeated every trainer up to this point, so I couldn't grind up anymore. Eventually I got this lucky run where the Zubat did not use Toxic and I was able to take it down with 3 Razor Leaves, and the Purugly came out, who Crush managed to one-shot with a Razor Leaf too, and now we can head on to Cheryl. Normally you would grind up in this forest because you get free healing, but we can't do that, so we're just gonna use a Repel and fight every trainer that we can. After doing that, we leave the forest and go to the first gym, which is led by Gardenia. But since we resist all of her team, this was a very easy battle because we set up some curses on her first Pokemon, Turtwig. And with all of these curses set up, I was able to 2-shot the Turtwig, 1-shot the Roserade, and 2-shot the Cherrim as well. And then it was time to take on Commander Jupiter, and I had to learn my Grotle Cut, which is very bad because we had to get rid of Bite. Our Grotle is slowly turning into an HM Slave with Rock Smash and Cut now. Luckily, I was able to set up some curses on our first Pokemon Zubat and take that out in 1 hit eventually, and then Skuntank was an easy 2-shot. Then I met up with Mount Coronet in Cyrus. No, that's not right. And then he told me that you should join my live streams so that you can see me do these challenges live. Right now I'm doing a no Poke Center run on Pokemon Black, and I hope to see you all in the chat. And then my Grotle evolved into a Torterra, and this time I had to get rid of Curse, which I'm very sad of, but I have to keep Razor Leaf and Earthquake in my moveset. As we reach Hearthome City, we also got ourselves an egg which we're going to hatch, and this is going to be our second team member, Togepi. I also picked up the EXP share so that I can level him up without switch training. And to make this challenge a little bit easier on myself, once I reach the Pokemon League, I can actually use useful held items. So I hatched my breakfast and got myself my third team member as well, Eevee, which we will be evolving into a Vaporeon so that we can use water HMs. I named him Kyle because while I was playing through the game I had a funny joke about it, but I totally forgot. So yeah, it's just Kyle now. And after that it was time for the third gym battle avec Fantina. Our first Pokemon, Duskull, was an easy one-shot with Razor Leaf from my Torterra. The hunter could not handle the Razor Leaf either. And last up was the Miss Magus, which I sand attacked a few times with Kyle, and then I went back into Torterra to finish the job with some Razor Leaves. So right now the game seems quite easy because I have a Torterra, but believe me, it gets way harder. And then we encounter Steve once again, and he wanted another Pokemon battle. His first Pokemon was a Staravia, and we got lucky to get a critical hit and one-shot it. Then we Earthquake the Monferno, we Razor Leaf the Weasel, and we Earthquake the Roselia to get myself an easy victory over Steve. Then I fought all the trainers on my way to Velstone City and arrived there too so that I can challenge the next gym leader, Meilene. And this was yet again a very easy gym fight with my Torterra, Earthquake the Meditite, Earthquake the Lucario, and Earthquake and Razor Leaf the Machoke. I barely realized this, but Machoke has choke in his name, and Meilene has a Machoke. Please no. But then we stumbled on a little bit of an obstacle, the rival fight with Steve. Since his Staravia is now level 35, my Torterra really isn't that good against it anymore. And since my best move is Cut and I can't set up with Curse either, and I have to get at least a crit with Cut to be able to take down this Staravia, or I have to get lucky with my rolls. And did I mention that the Staravia also has Double Team, which it likes to use very much. But eventually I got lucky enough to take down the Staravia, and the rest of his team really wasn't that hard to take down. I lead with Togepi because the Staravia's Intimidate, and if it hits my Torterra with that, I'm not gonna be able to take it down. So I start off by putting it to sleep with Togepi with a Yawn, and then I switch into my Torterra and I was able to finish it off with just 3 cuts. Monferno was an easy one-shot with Earthquake, Roselia as well, and last up was Buizel, who I took down with a Razor Leaf to win myself this rival battle. And now it's hopefully time for an easy gym battle with Crasher Wake. And after that fight, my Togepi also evolved into Togetic at level 30. Since Crasher Wake leads off with his Gyarados with Intimidate, I'll lead off with my Togetic so that I can put it to sleep and absorb the Intimidate as well. Then after Togetic goes down, I switch into my Torterra to take down the Gyarados with a Razor Leaf and then a critical Razor Leaf. But then the problem of this fight comes around. Floatzel. This thing always outspeeds my Torterra and has Ice Fang, which always 2-shots me. And the only way for my Torterra to take him down is for him to miss an Ice Fang or for me to get a critical Razor Leaf. So we just have to go up to the point till we reach that, and then this is going to be very easy. I decided to go with a different strategy and keep Togetic for Floatzel, so my Torterra was able to take down the Gyarados with a critical Razor Leaf and then just a normal one. Then when Floatzel came out, I switched into Togetic to put it to sleep, and then my Torterra was able to kill him while he was sleeping. And last was Quagsire, who can't handle a single Razor Leaf because of his water ground typing. Then I was talking to Crasher Wake by the Safari Zone, and all of a sudden a bomb exploded. It was this Team Galactic goon who I had to chase down so that he could face Justice, but once I reached him, he just wanted a Pokemon battle and he was able to run off. I guess that's just how Justice works in the Pokemon universe. Then I picked up the secret potion from Cynthia, and I also went back to Jubilife City to pick up a Porygon that I forgot there. I named him 50k because I just reached 50k subscribers, and I can't thank you all enough for the support. As a celebration, I will be doing a sleep log, if you haven't seen that yet, of Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness on the 4th of July. So if you can make it, definitely put it in your agenda and jump in. Next up is the first fight you have to do with Cyrus, and he starts off with a Sneasel who goes for an Ice Punch and does a load of damage against my Torterra. Luckily he healed up, and next turn I got a high roll on Earthquake to take it out, and next up was Golbat. So I switched into Porygon, who was able to hit it with 2 Psybeams but then went down, so I switched into Torterra. I went for a cut and I got a critical hit to take down the Golbat. His final Pokemon was Murkrow, so I switched in Togetic, who was able to finish this fight with a critical Ancient Power. Now we have the HM for Serve as well, so I evolved my Eevee into a Vaporeon with the Water Stone, which I acquired with the Dowsing Machine. Then I jumped on my Vaporeon's back and traveled to Canalave City to fight Steve once again. But he has a Heracross, which can literally sweep my entire team if I do anything wrong, because I need Togetic to take down Heracross with a Fly, and sometimes I'm not able to do that because my Togetic has already fainted or he outspeeds and one-shots me with a crit. He also has an Infernape now together with a Staraptor, so my Torterra isn't able to put in much work here. So I went to the department store to pick up some new TMs so that I have a better chance of winning this battle. I pick up a TM for Blizzard, Fire Blast, Thunder, and Focus Blast. I teach my Vaporeon Blizzard, my Togetic is going to learn Fire Blast, and I also gave my Porygon Thunder. Focus Blast is for when I get Riolu. And with my new geared up team, I went back to Steve. Vaporeon was able to bring down the Staraptor into red health with a Blizzard, but then he took me out with a Quick Attack. Then I switched in Porygon, who finished off the Staraptor with a Thunder, while he also set up a double team, so was pretty lucky here. For Heracross I had to switch into Breakfast, who was able to take it down with a Fly, even though we got hit with a Brick Break. My Torterra got hit with a super effective Flame Wheel from Infernape, but it didn't do enough damage, so Earthquake was enough to finish that thing off. Floatzel was a Razor Leaf one-shot, and his final Pokemon, Roserade, was also a one-shot with Earthquake. And then it was time for the Steel-type gym leader, Byron, the father of Roark. For this fight, I got rid of Cut on my Torterra with the move deleter, and I'm waiting for a new move. Luckily, he starts off with a Magneton who is 4 times weak to Earthquake, so that's an easy one-shot. Next up was Stelix, so he just set up a Sandstorm and my Vaporeon was able to finish that thing off with 3 serves after he healed up. Since Kyle needed some more levels, I decided to stay in for Bastiodon and hit it with a few serves, while also getting hit with a very hard hitting Stone Edge. Even though we're 11 levels lower than his Bastiodon, we still managed to kill it and earn ourselves the 6th gym badge. Then I went to Iron Island to get myself the HM for strength, but I also had to clear everything out with Riley so that I would get some extra levels, and at the end, by defeating the Team Galactic grunts, I also got myself a Riolu. And it was also very nice because I could pick up some nice TMs in the cave too. So after going to the end of the cave, I got myself a shiny stone, which means that my Togetic can now evolve into a Togekiss. Then we had a little bit of a chat with the Professor Steve and Dawn, and there was yet again another terrorist attack. We have to go to the lakes now, but before I do that, I decided to hatch my Riolu egg first. I had to give him a name that refers to the good old days. Gearfried. Perfect. With my new hatchling, I went to take on all of the Team Galactic admins, and I was able to take them down very easily. So then I went to the snowy mountains where I met up with Meilene, and she was very cold because she was just wearing shorts and a tank top. Why would you do that? Anyway, so she died, and then I finally decided to evolve my breakfast into lunch. With my new Togekiss, I knew that I was able to take down everything because its special attack stat is through the roof. And then I went to the 7th gym led by Candace. And the women in this game must be cold resistant because she is literally standing in an ice gym with a skirt. So she's a little bit of a problem because of her Frostlass. The biggest problem with it is that it has the ability Snow Cloak and also loves to set up double teams. So hitting it is pretty damn hard to do. Combine that with a Blizzard that can never miss because of the hail, and you've got yourself a sweeper. And my Togekiss is too slow to outspeed, and he always gets one shot by a Blizzard, just like Torterra, so I have to take him down with my Vaporeon. Okay, so the battle starts off with her Sneasel, so I lead with Togekiss. He hits me with an Ice Shard, which doesn't do that much damage, but a Fire Blast one-shots. Next up is Obama, who is 4 times weak to Fire Blast, but we missed our first one, get hit with a very strong Avalanche, but next turn I was able to take it down with another Fire Blast. For Piloswine, I switched into Kyle, who was easily able to drown it with a Surf. Last up is Frostlass, and this time my Vaporeon got the better of it by spamming Surf 3 times, and I was able to hit every single one of them and not miss to win myself the 7th gym badge. Then I traveled back to the Team Galactic headquarters to listen to this speech of Cyrus where he talks about following me on Twitter. Yes, link in the description. And I then went up to his room to fight him. Since he starts off with a Sneasel, I thought that Gearfried was the best one to take him down, but he got one shot with an Ice Punch. So then I switched to my Togekiss to finish off the Sneasel with a Fire Blast, and next up was Crobat, so I stayed in, hit it with a Fire Blast which didn't even do half, and next turn hit it with an Ancient Power which brought it down into red health, but then my Togekiss got taken out. And I knew that he was going to heal up this Crobat, so I switched in Kyle, who was able to finish it off with a single Blizzard. Next was Honchkrow, so I stayed in, went for a Blizzard. It did just about half health, but the next Blizzard we missed and then got taken out by a Drill Peck. So I tried to go for a Thunder with 50k, but we got one shot by a Drill Peck too, so last up was Torterra. Since we needed Rock Climb, I decided to teach it to him, and now I was able to confuse Pokemon as well, which is a nice side effect. And luckily my Rock Climb confused him and he took himself out after that. He then gave us the Master Ball and the permission to free Uxie, Mesprit and Azelf, which we then did. And then we made the long hike up to Mount Coronet. The double fight with Steve was a piece of cake because I was able to sweep most of their team with my Vaporeon Surf, and Togekiss did all of the rest of the work. We then did all of the world-ending shenanigans with Dialga, Palkia and Giratina. Giratina jumped at the screen like always, and a portal of the Distortion World opened up. After traversing my way through the Distortion World, I finally reached Cyrus. And if you know Pokemon Platinum, you know that this is one of the hardest fights in the entire game. And this one was no different. I had to reset about half an hour to an hour until I was eventually able to come up with a strategy to win, because most of his Pokemon are super effective against mine, like Honchkrow, Houndoom, and Crobat are very damn hard Pokemon for me to take down. Just like Gyarados actually, he can also do some very decent damage against most of my team members. It's also a very big problem that his first Pokemon Houndoom always goes for a Will-O-Wisp to burn my first Pokemon. If I had Lucario on the team, this would have been way easier, but I was playing in nighttime and at the time I didn't know Riolu only evolves with friendship in daytime, so I just thought his friendship wasn't high enough yet. Anyway, eventually I was able to win. His first Pokemon Houndoom always burns my Vaporeon as I try to go for a Surf, and we barely don't one-shot it. He also hit me with a Thunder Fang, but after he healed up I was able to take him down with 2 Surfs. Next up was Gyarados, and there is a small chance that he goes for Earthquake and then my Porygon can survive that and hit with a Thunder, but this time he just went for a Waterfall and one-shot me. So I switched in Togekiss and went for a few Ancient Powers to try and get the boost, and eventually I got my boost and also took down the Gyarados, and next up was his Weavile. Luckily I still had Fire Blast and I was faster now with the boosts, so I one-shot him too. Then Honchkrow came out and I went for another Ancient Power which brought him down into red health but didn't one-shot. He hit me with a Drill Peck, I survived, he healed up. I went for another Ancient Power, got the boost, and I thought I was good. So I just went for a Fly because it has the highest accuracy, but I missed and got taken out. So I then tried to finish him off with Kyle, but Kyle was not able to finish off the Honchkrow because he got outsped and killed. Somehow my Torterra managed to outspeed and kill it though, which was great. Last up was his Crobat, and my last hope was Torterra here. Even though we're not very effective on him, I still had Rock Climb, which had the ability to confuse him. So I got lucky and confused him, but he also confused me with a Confuse Ray. Eventually I got him down to red health and he hit himself in its confusion, and I won the battle against Cyrus. And with that, Cynthia healed up my team and I went to Giratina. But Giratina got a stat boost and won against me. I wasn't able to take down Giratina, so I reset, and guess what? I went back to the save before Cyrus, so I had to fight Cyrus again. But after that I decided to call it and came back next day. So I defeated Giratina again and went to the 8th gym where my Riolu evolved into a Lucario, finally. And then I took on Volkner, and with his first Pokemon being Jolteon, I for some reason led with Togekiss, who was actually able to take him down with 2 Fire Blasts. For the rest of his team, I decided to use Torterra, and I was able to take every single team member down with Earthquake, so that's Luxray, Electivire, and Raichu. Now we only have Steve and the Elite Four members and the champion before us. And as you can see, my Pokemon are around level 50, which is the level that I'm going to have to beat the Pokemon League at, because I can't grind up on any trainers or I can't use the daycare anymore. So let's get into this Steve fight and let's see if this challenge is actually possible, because this is the hardest part of it. Steve starts off with his Staraptor, so I decide to lead with my Togekiss. He decides to go for a close combat first turn, which is very good for me because then we can one-shot it with an Ancient Power because of the defense drop. Next up is Floatzel, so I switch in Torterra and go for a Razor Leaf, but he's left with like 1 HP and we lost a lot of health because of an Ice Fang. So next turn he was able to outspeed and take me out. So then I switched in Gearfried, who was able to take down the Floatzel with a Drain Punch. Infernape managed to hit my Vaporeon with a Focus Blast, but a single Surf was able to finish that thing off too. Roserade got one shot because of a Fire Blast by Togekiss. Heracross got taken down by a Fly because that's 4 times super effective, and last up was his Snorlax, his big fatty. So I went into Gearfried to hit him with a Drain Punch, but then he took me out with a single Earthquake. Rude. So then I switched in Togekiss, he went for a Rest, and I was able to hit him with a lot of Fire Blast before he took me down with a Body Slam, so I had to go into my last hope, Kyle, and he didn't heal again, and I was able to finish this battle with a Surf. And after this, I did some scavenging around. First, I went underground to find myself some heart scales so that I could reteach some moves to some Pokemon. And I also deleted a lot of HMs on them so that I could basically take on the league with some very decent movesets. I also went ahead and grabbed a load of TMs, including the one for Double Team and Iron Tail, which are very important. I also defeated every single trainer, so I can't grind up any more levels. Once I defeat an Elite Four member, I have to save after that so that I can go back and re-battle them. Let's do this. First Elite Four member is Aaron, so I start off with Togekiss, who was able to take down his first Pokemon Yanmega with an Ancient Power and gain the boosts in the process. Next was Drapion, and since I had the boost, I didn't want to switch out, so I took that thing down with 2 Fire Blasts. Vespiquen was an easy one-shot with Ancient Power, Heracross was a one-shot with Fly, and last up was Scizor, who I took down with a Fire Blast. First Elite Four member, like always, a very easy one. Next up was the old woman, Bertha, and I decided to lead off with Torterra, and since I now have Curse and Synthesis available to me, I decided to set up 5 curses on her first Pokemon Whiscash because I knew that he didn't have any moves that could really do much damage. So after setting those up, I healed up with a Synthesis and took it down with a Razor Leaf. Next was Glyscor, who had Ice Fang, but since we have 5 curses set up, our defense is pretty damn high and it doesn't do that much damage. I'm still able to take it down in 2 Razor Leaves, and next up is Golem, and because we're so slow, it is able to hit us with a Fire Punch, but it doesn't do that much damage and we're able to take him down. Ryperio was next, and somehow we were still able to outspeed. How slow is Ryperio? So I went for a Synthesis twice to heal up, and then I killed it with a Razor Leaf. And last was Hippowdon, who just wasted his turn by going for Yawn, so I one-shot him as well. Next up is the Elite Four member Flint, so I decide to lead off with Vaporeon as he leads off with his Houndoom. Because he set up a Sunny Day on turn 1, my Surfs are barely doing any damage, but eventually, after he healed up once and hit me with a load of Dark Pulses, my Vaporeon was able to kill his first Pokemon Houndoom. Next up was Infernape, and I thought that I could maybe outspeed, but he went for a Mach Punch, which is priority, so we're dead. So then I switched into Torterra. He was able to outspeed me and hit me with a Flare Blitz, which did almost get me down into red health, but my Earthquake was able to take down the Infernape. Next was Flareon, who we managed to outspeed somehow. This Torterra is actually pretty damn fast, and we one-shot him. Next was Rapidash, so I stayed in. He went for a bounce, and then I switched him to my Porygon to take the hit. And then I switched in Togekiss. He went for another bounce, so I missed my Ancient Power, but he then missed his bounce. I got a critical hit with Ancient Power, and the Rapidash is now dead. Next was Mcmoritor, so I stayed in and went for a Yawn and also hit a Fire Blast, but then we got taken out by 2 Thunderbolts. So because he's now asleep, I can safely switch in Torterra and finish this battle with another Earthquake. 3 Elite Four members down, 1 more to go, and then it's time for Cynthia. And believe it or not, Lucian was the hardest Elite Four member of the bunch. His first problem is his Mr. Mime, because he always sets up a barrier or a light screen on turn 1. Sometimes he doesn't set up a screen and I'm able to one-shot him, but that doesn't happen very often. And even if I manage to take him down without him setting up a screen, he still has Alakazam, Gallade, and Bronzong, which give me a load of problems. Alakazam is annoying because he hits like a truck and he outspeeds my entire team. Gallade is annoying because he just hits very hard. And Bronzong loves to set up with Calm Minds, and my Torterra can literally not touch him at all. But eventually, after like 30 to 40 tries, I was able to get a strategy to take down Lucian. So he starts off with his Mr. Mime, and I start off with Torterra and go for an Earthquake, which doesn't one-shot, but he only sets up a light screen, so next turn I can take him down with an Earthquake and another Razor Leaf. Next up is Espeon, so I switch in Togekiss and go for a Fire Blast, but because of the light screen I barely do any damage, so next turn I set up a Yawn and then I switch into my Porygon to take a Psychic. Now that the Espeon is asleep, I switch into Torterra and I'm able to take him down with 2 Earthquakes. Next is Bronzong, so I switch back into Togekiss and try to go for a Fire Blast, but me miss and get taken out by a Psychic, so I switch in Vaporeon. Bronzong then decides to set up a Calm Mind and then go for a lot of Psychics, but luckily I'm faster and I was able to take him down with 4 Surfs. Next was Alakazam, so I switched into my Lucario hoping that he would miss his Focus Blast. I got very lucky and he misses his 2 Focus Blasts, so I'm able to take him down with 2 Dark Pulses. Next was Gallate, so I decided to stay in, but a Drain Punch was my downfall because we got one shot, sadly enough. Then I switched in Vaporeon to hopefully outspeed, but sadly enough I didn't outspeed and got taken out by a Stone Edge. So then I switched in Torterra, he went for a Psycho Cut which didn't kill me, and an Earthquake killed it because it was a critical hit. The amount of luck I needed to win this battle was insane, but I got it. Talking about luck, look who's here. Cynthia. Oh boy, this fight... I don't even want to talk about this fight. I was resetting for about an hour or 2 until I eventually won, but there were so many strategies I tried before I opted to go for the double team strategy. I tried leading with so many different Pokemon, Lucario, Togekiss, all of them, but they're just not good enough at this level, and since Cynthia has a level 60 Togekiss and a level 60 Lucario, mine really can't compete with hers. It also doesn't help that her Togekiss basically sweeps my entire team, and even if I get past that and her Milotic comes out, that thing can also sweep me except for Vaporeon. There was this one time where I got really lucky and I got 2 boosts with Ancient Power on my Togekiss, and even then I was only able to take down her Togekiss and Lucario until Milotic came out and killed me. So the only way for me to win this challenge is by double teaming. I really tried to not do it, but it was not possible otherwise. And there was also another thing I had to take care of, because the Togekiss can get hit by Earthquake. Yeah, and I had to keep Curse and Synthesis to heal up, so that I could set up and heal up at the same time, which was very good. So I had to replace Earthquake with something, and the only TM that I found that was able to take down the Togekiss was Iron Tail. Luckily, Torterra could learn that, so everything was still alright. Now let's see how we did it. Spiritomb is a great Pokemon to set up on because it can never ever one-shot me. Even with a critical hit from Silverwind or something, it's not able to one-shot my Torterra. So I'm able to set up loads of double teams and curses, and not actually waste all of my Synthesis PP at the same time. So after setting up, I went for my Iron Tail, but I missed, and next turn she was going Big Brain and switched into a Milotic. Luckily, one Iron Tail was able to bring it down into Orange Health, and the next one took him down. Next was Togekiss, and as you can see, a +6 boosted Iron Tail doesn't even take it out. I was lucky to get a defense drop, so after she healed up Togekiss, I was able to one-shot it. The only thing I was afraid of now was running out of PP, so Spiritomb came back out, and it has the ability Pressure, which is very annoying, so it always takes 2 PP points away. Still, I was able to one-shot it, and next up was Garchomp, and an Iron Tail yet again didn't one-shot, but my Quick Claw activated. I almost forgot to tell you guys, my Torterra has a Quick Claw now so that I can outspeed certain Pokemon, and that really makes my life a lot easier. So after he healed up with his berry, I was able to finish him off with another Iron Tail. So she only had 2 Pokemon left, Lucario and Roserade, and I only had 2 Iron Tails left. Luckily I was able to hit the Roserade and take it down in a single hit, but last up was Lucario. I went for an Iron Tail, but it didn't one-shot, and Aura Sphere can never miss. It's a move that can never miss, which also was a big problem before I used Double Team. So with no more Iron Tails remaining, I had to let Torterra die. Luckily, I was able to switch in Breakfast. I missed my first Fire Blast, so he hit me with a Stone Edge. He missed his second Stone Edge, so I took him out with a Fire Blast. And we did manage to beat Pokemon Platinum without encountering any wild Pokemon or rematching any battles. So, this was a very interesting challenge, and it was actually pretty damn hard to do. So you can basically totally ignore the fact that you have to catch Pokemon and grind them up to win the game. It actually brings a lot of fun to the game because you have to strategize some moves up front and you can't just wing it really. So you have to bring TMs, you have to lead up with the right Pokemon, you have to switch at the right time. It's pretty damn challenging. So I would definitely recommend that you guys do this. And as always, I would like to thank my Patreon and membership supporters from Swampert and up, Benatril, Kenzie Bunk, and Felipe Morla. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. I want to thank you guys for watching, and as always people, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. I'm Zwigo, and I'll see you guys next time.